Welcome to another episode of Overanalyzing Cartoons Massacre, a series where I take a look at a Cartoons Massacre completion and overanalyze it, showing tips and strategies used, mistakes made, and what you should and shouldn't do when playing this mode. I won't be mentioning literally everything since I'll be going under the assumption that you have read through my guide and have a good understanding of it. I'm going to be comparing this run to a theoretical perfect version of this exact run to help you further understand the challenge. I want to clarify that I'm not making these challenges, I'm not making these videos to hate on the person playing or saying the run sucks. The week would have your treat modes have so much going on that it makes it almost humanly impossible to play these modes perfectly. I just want to make this video to show what mistakes you may make when doing this challenge, as truly understanding this challenge can really help you become a lot better and consistent at beating this. This is one of those FNAF challenges where anything and everything can happen, with an absurd amount of situations that can happen, which makes it easy to call this challenge RNG. So I made this series as a way to help players fully understand this challenge because in reality, while every situation is affected by RNG, the challenge really is just being able to think fast and quickly adapt to anything that can happen. And if you're good at doing so in this challenge, then it isn't nearly as RNG as you may think. But RNG does still play a crucial role in varying the difficulty of many situations that can happen. Only this first part of the video has a script. I didn't prepare a script for anything else, so if there's something I missed or should have mentioned, then I will leave a pinned comment and talk about all of what I missed and should have mentioned. But I do prepare notes for these vids, so I shouldn't miss too much. Alrighty, so that's it. Let's finally get to the completion video. So, okay, hold on, let me change the thing. Since this video was made before the Jemmy strategy was ever a thing, this Jemmy completion, Jemmy's run here doesn't actually use the Jemmy strategy, so unfortunately I will not be able to cover that, run, but I do plan on covering a, co- I do plan on covering in the future, like on a future episode, where my run or my playthrough using the Jemmy strategy. I will cover that eventually, but for now, I'll just be analyzing Jemmy's run as per usual. So, let's start it up. I actually prepared a lot of notes for this. There were so many things I wanted to mention, so this will be an interesting episode for sure. So, as per usual, change the temperature to 40 and go to the camera 2B, and then wait. A little micro adjustment I do is that I would wait for the temperature to be at 40 first before going to the second floor or before using the cameras at all, so that the first usage of the cameras will be when the lights are off. This is only, again, very minor, doesn't really matter, but a little micro adjustment that I do to save a little bit of time with the errors not happening as much, but like a very small amount. But yeah, micro adjustment, it's fine.
Iron Spade.
And you hear just lights off. Mike's here, but if you notice, Jemmy is not dealing with Mike right away. This is good because it's the very beginning of the night. You can stall the demise characters a little bit like Mike. If it's Mike or Matty, you can stall them out, or even intentionally let them jump scare you. Letting them jump scare you would be better ideally, but it's fine either way. Like, this is still a really good technique to use. And again, it's only really good at the beginning of the night when no one else is attacking you, so you won't get comboed by a bunch of people. So, good for Jamie, making use of the strategy, and after a while, finally finding Mike with on the cameras. Yeah. Checking that camera, I actually, let me go back a little bit. Yeah, Jamie checks camera 4A to see if milk and yogurt is there. I will talk about that a little later. I do want to mention something about that later on, so not yet. Okay, so one little thing that happened: Mike spawns the second time in a row. Demise Mike is the one that spawns instead of any of the other Demise characters. But what Jamie does here is that if you notice, the temperature is at 40, and Jemmy looks for Mike with the lights being on. This is not entirely a good thing because camera signal error. It's gonna make the cameras break a little faster, and there was really no reason to keep the lights on when going on the cameras here, so a little bit of a mistake, but I mean it's not the worst mistake that can happen. But if you've noticed, her camera signal is at 1 bar already, and it's like what 40 seconds into the night. So the camera signal can really be like that insane sometimes. I will talk about a little bit about that, but before I do, one thing I want to mention right over here. The mice Mike attacks second time in a row, usually, or like as usual, but yeah. Demi instead decides to find the mice Mike and find his head and get rid of him instantly. I'd say I think it would be better to like stall the mice Mike again. It's still very early in the night, so there you really could have used this time to stall him out and like get a few more seconds into the night without anything happening. You know, it would have been fine. Uh, it's fine normal. It's okay. Second attack, it's whatever. It's not that impactful, but you know, another adjustment you could do to make it a little bit easier. Going back to what I said about the camera signal being low, if I go back all the way to Warrior 2, okay, if you just saw there, right before Jemmy closes the cameras, let me try to go back. Let me try to pause at the perfect time. The camera signal went down by 1 bar at 12:34. This is fine. This is normal. The camera signal goes down by like 1 bar around this time usually. So, but if you've noticed, Jemmy turns on the lights, goes on the cameras, and look at the signal. Already, immediately at 1 bar. Instantly at 1 bar after what? How long has it been? Like 3 seconds or something? It's been 3 seconds or around that time of Jemmy's camera signal being at 2 bars before it already dropped down by another bar. This is mostly and mainly because the lights are on when Jemmy goes on the cameras. So it really is this important to try to maximize the lights being off when you're going on the cameras as much as possible. Because if you remember from episode 3, the previous episode where I cover Ruben's run, he did this the entire night. I wouldn't say you should do it the entire night. There are situations where it would be better to have the lights being on when you go on the cameras, but for Ruben, he did a really good job at managing the building's lights with having it be off when going on when opening the cameras as much as possible. Like literally the entire run was like that, and because of that, his camera signal did not go down for a lot of times when it normally would have. And the first time that Ruben's cameras break was at 1 minute and 30 seconds of the night. So like 1:30 a.m. and the camera still hasn't broken at all. So it's very different here because yeah, Jamie has lights on going on the cameras. This happened like a couple of times now, I'm pretty sure. So this really doesn't matter. You really have to worry about doing this. Yeah, that's it. Back moves. Oh, Chari will have here goes in the cameras. A little slow there, I would say. I want to go back a little bit more. Okay, I hear the camera vents radar, or like, I hear Chari will have here in the vents. I wouldn't spend the extra. I mean, you could. You were like, you, you could hear the Shadow Evil have your going to the vents before closing the cameras. I'd say like be fast about that. I'd say you should be a little faster like before closing the cameras because Jemmy was right about to close the cameras when the sound played. So I'd say try to be a little faster with reacting to that. Like when you hear the sound, just be very aware and have that be top priority as usual. But Jemmy here still was pretty fast. I would say this is like good speed. This is enough speed to have survived in case of the error combo happening, the Shadow Evil have here and camera error combo. Jemmy could have still survived because she was pretty fast here. So still good, but I'd say be a little bit faster. A little bit, just in case. Okay. So I'm gonna have a little look see here again. A little bit earlier, like so Jemmy's here obviously like focusing on child milk and yogurt. She's looking at the cameras for them and funnily enough, I don't know what happened here, but Jemmy was meant to check this camera, like camera 4B, this camera over here. She flicked that camera, but she didn't see anything because when she flicked into the camera, the signal loss thing appeared, so the cameras went black, so she couldn't see anything. very like unfortunate because I'm pretty sure if I remember rewatching this, Shadow Milk and Yogurt are right here. So if Jemmy spent a little bit longer looking at this camera, then she would have seen that Shadow Milk and Yogurt are on that camera, and she would have known to wait until they attack on the second floor. But because she didn't see them in this camera, like she spent, she couldn't see. Like if I go back again when she checked this camera, you could see she checked camera 1B and camera 3B, but this camera, when she switched to it, she could not see anything. Like you can't see anything on it because yeah, camera signal. So she didn't spend much time. She just like used uh her fast like movement through the cameras a little too fast. She goes a little bit too fast, and you can't really see the cameras very well. So on situations like this, you shouldn't try to go as fast as possible because in case that happens, you need to see. Of course, it's better to go very fast. It's better to be really fast, but in case that happens, you should be aware of it. And you should be like, oh, I hadn't checked this camera yet because I couldn't see if anyone was there or not, so I'll check it again. But yeah, she checks the first floor cameras. She checks camera, like the shock cameras. The first camera she checks will be fourth, but checks camera time. She checks this camera first, right? And right after, Darknet was just here. Darknet is now attacking at the window. She knows that now, and she's gonna close the light. Good. And then she checks this camera. And this camera, but again, problem arises the fact that you can't see anything when you go on the cameras. Be wary too, because like she checks camera 5A or like six. That's 6A. I don't remember. 5A or 6A. I think that's camera 5A and camera 4A. And the camera was panned to the left, so you could not see if Shattered Milk and Yogurt were there or not. Camera 5A. You cannot see if they're there. And camera 4A, you could see a tiny bit, but you can't really guarantee that they are there unless you're very, like, careful. You can really, like, you're very, what's the word for it? You can see, like, you're very attentive, that you can see if they're there or not. But no, most people wouldn't see. And then she checks, camera 7A before shocking. This is a funny mistake that she made because if you remember there's two things about this. If I go back a little bit to like over here, the first camera she checks was camera 7A. And then she checks camera 3A and 5A. And then I mean she thinks, oh, maybe like the time that she went like went off of camera 7A, the time that she isn't checking that camera. Like maybe Shadow Milk and Yogurt have gone to that camera, but they don't. They're there, and even if the camera is panned to the very left side here, you could still clearly see if they are there. Like you could see like Milk's head and tentacles like on this around this like layout border. You could see them there. It's pretty clear, but and like Jemmy Wade, she doesn't shock right away. I mean, you had more than enough time to see if they were there or not, but then like you still shocked either way. Let me play it again at like full speed. Like you see, she delayed herself from shocking at that point. If you're gonna like do the shock strategy where you shock a camera like very fast if you don't know if anyone's there and you have to go do something else right away, you might as well do it instantly. But here, she had time to check, and she checked, but they're still clearly not there, and she still shocked anyways. Maybe she forgot, maybe Jemmy forgot that you could see Milk and Yogurt at the very left if the camera's panned to the very left, but still a pretty funny mistake. It doesn't matter again because like 20 shocks, you don't really have to worry about shocks, but if you're playing hard as 12-12, this is not something you can do. You can't really waste a shock like this much. Like this was a wasted shot that could have easily been saved. Yeah, it's more of a hardest 12-12 thing, but it's fine. Yeah, Darknet's left, so luckily, and over here. Another mistake, unlike the other two episodes, I think both other episodes I covered, episode 2 and 3, they've made the same mistake of overheating Tom in the top vent. Again, I've explained like a few times, like a bunch of times already, why this is like not a good idea. Don't overheat Tom in the top vent. It's like there's not really much good you'll get out of it. And one of those not good things will come in a bit soon in the video, so I will explain that. But for now, continue. Okay, if you noticed a little bit right after you hear Shadow the Evil Javier in the vents. Oh, Shadow Milk and Yogurt are right here. You can see Milk's bow tie or like bow. It's like peeking out in the camera here, and when the signal loss, like loading, please wait, buffering happens. After that, they're gone. Shadow Milk and Yogurt has just disappeared. Like they're gone. They at this point, Shadow Milk and Yogurt, they are now at the shock camera. So Jemmy has like of course their kill timer is long, so Jemmy still has a while before they'll kill. But she checks the vent radar to deal with Shadow Evil Javier first. Good choice. Deal with him as fast as possible. This was a good decision. And there's Tom in the vent, top vent, shock, overheating him. Not the best idea, but whatever. I will explain why. And oxygen font, repairing it while the Mice Matty is still on the camera. She's repairing the oxygen font. Uh, I I mean this overall actually not a bad decision. Sometimes it would genuinely be better to repair the oxygen font before dealing with the Mice Matty, but since the Mice Matty skill timer is a bit short, I wouldn't say you should. I'd say it's something you should prioritize, like dealing with Matty first. But it's okay. By the way, Sharon Milk and Yogurt at this point are still on the shock camera. They're still there. And only now did Jemmy notice that they're there. Right there. Finally noticed. It's been how many seconds? It's been a while. They've been there for over 15 seconds. Luckily, the Mice Matty was there, so they stalled, or the Mice Matty stalled Milk and Yogurt's kill timer, so Jemmy almost died. Because she didn't really notice that, if I go back a little bit, or like, if you remember, like, Milk and Yogurt, like, bow was like at peeking out at the edge here. If Jemmy was more attentive, she would have, I'm just gonna go back. Right here. Yeah. 118 is when Milk and Yogurt go on the shock camera, but then, like, 21 seconds later, that's when Jemmy shocked. Yeah, if Jemmy had noticed here, then Jemmy would have, not had to deal with any risks there. Like, Milk and Yogurt were very, very close to killing Jemmy here. So, Jemmy got lucky. She got very lucky here. That Milk and Yogurt didn't kill. And, wait, let me check my notes. There's something I written down for this section. Oh, yeah. Jemmy opened the lights here, and it went on the cameras. Even if the temperature is at 40, this is a little mistake. Actually, this is actually a kind of a major mistake. Jemmy should have turned off the lights and kept them off the entire time. Jemmy should have kept the lights off and went on the cameras while the lights are still off, not having to open the lights again. The temperature is like 40, so you don't have any you don't really have any reason to keep it on at this point. But yeah. It's again contributing to the fact that the signal error is just draining so much. Like the signal bar on the camera, it's draining so much because Jemmy does this for a lot of the night. A lot of her completion goes in the camera with the lights on, which is not the best thing. But yeah, back to where we were. Yeah, with Yogurt, Mice Matty. Lucky as well that the Mice Matty didn't jump scare Jemmy, because I'm pretty sure the Mice Matty was like 1, 2, or 3 seconds away from jump scaring Jemmy, and this was very close. If the Mice Matty jump scared Jemmy, then I don't think Jemmy would have had enough time to check for Milk and Yogurt and shock them. So this one single jump scare from the Mice Matty could have ended her entire run. But she got lucky and managed to find the last star in time, and because of that she noticed Milk and Yogurt are gone and then goes shock them. So yeah, you have to be fast dealing with these Demise dudes. Demise Man is a problem because he's a fast kill timer, with the camera system breaking when he jump scares you. Jamilk lives left, so check the left door. I would be a little faster with Shadow Evil Javier. Shadow Evil Javier attack. I would go to Vent's radar right now, but instead Jemmy spend the time to go to the second floor before going to the Vent's radar. I'd say a little slow, but you have to be a little faster here. Remember, top priority, Shadow Evil Javier in the vent, number 1 priority. And then, very lucky, because look, the camera system breaks right after she overheats Shadow Evil Javier, because if the camera system broke before Jemmy overheat Shadow Evil Javier, I don't know if she would have had enough time to overheat Shadow Evil Javier. I'm not sure. Cause like it's close. She was a little slow, but I think she might have had a little bit of time. But yeah, she got lucky here that this happened. So the risk here isn't as high. Yeah. Yeah, Tom was in the top vent. Jemmy was about to overheat Tom in the top vent, but Tom went through it. This is good. You shouldn't overheat Tom in the top vent. And right now, I bet Jemmy's thinking, "Oh, darn it, Tom got through the top vent. This is not good." But it's good. You don't have to worry. Oh, oops, I lost the video. Ignore the Discord ping sounds, by the way. Those are Jemmy's video. If you hear any Discord ping sound and you know they aren't from you, then yeah. It's from Jemmy's video, not my desktop. It's just a little bit, just a little bit. Yeah, good use of laser power. Oh, Tom at the right vent. Overheat him. Good. Very good. Check the bottom shot camera. I would say, like, yeah. He spends too much time looking at the Mice Mr. Monarca. The Mice Mr. Monarca spawns now, and he spends too much time not looking at him, and the Mice Mr. Monarca jump scares because of that. One thing I will say, I'm pretty sure, wait, I'm not sure. This completion might be before, well, I'll check the recording. Like, when was this, what version was this? Okay, yeah, 1.1, never mind. I take it back then. I take it back. But yeah, be careful with this. Shadow Evil Javier attacked again. I would focus on him a lot more. Yeah, Shadow Evil Javier, I would go to the cameras and venture there right away, but instead, Jemmy went to the maintenance panel, which I wouldn't have done, but it's okay. So the mice jump scaring Jemmy is the mice Mr. Monarca, so it's fine. She still has enough time to check the ventilator and overreach Shadow Evil Javier, and that's what she does. But she actually repairs a system before dealing with Shattered Evil Javier. She repairs the audio system. Luckily, Shadow Evil Javier attacked very recently, so Jemmy did have enough time to repair the audio system, but I wouldn't have done this. It's only the audio. You can make Jeff move a little bit closer. One thing you may have noticed as well, 2:12 a.m. Jemmy is not changing the temperature because, like, normally Cartoons Massacre strategy, you change temperature every 2-minute mark. But just like Ruben, Jemmy forgot. Jemmy forgot the timer here, the stopwatch. She didn't pay attention to the time, so she forgets about this, and this will become a problem later on. But now, surviving Charity will have you in the vents combo. Well, not really combo, but you know. Right there, Jamie is very scared of milk and yogurt, very paranoid. Yeah, Shower Jack. One funny little thing I want to point out here as well, that when Jemmy checks the maintenance panel, she opens it and closes it right away, as if Jemmy was just checking the maintenance panel to see if any systems were broken. Oh, I'll just do a quick little check on the maintenance panels, just make sure all the systems are working fine. But then she's doing that as if she had forgotten that the mice Mr. Monarca jump scared her. So the reset laser power thing is still at 0 power, and this needs fixing instantly. This needs resetting. But I'm pretty sure Jemmy forgot and didn't fix it right away. She thought oh, there might be something that breaks, but yeah, should have repaired it a little quicker. Like opening and closing the main channel right away. Yeah, it's meh. It's okay. again, like that small little thing doesn't really matter, but I like mistakes like those can cost you a run on certain times, like very rarely, but they do happen. So again, these are just like minor mistakes. These aren't that big of a mistake she made, but yeah, there were still a couple of big mistakes Jemmy made so far, which yeah, at least she survived. At least Jemmy's still alive. That's what matters here. But yeah, Jemmy didn't really check the vent radar once during Jack attack, except for the very very beginning, which is risky because if I go back to the beginning of Jack attack, yeah, the only time this is the last time that she checked the vent radar. It's already like the very start of Jack's attack. No one's there. He's fine. And after Jack ends his attack, if you notice here, Tom was in the left vent and the camera system went out, so luckily you don't have to worry about Tom right now, but if theoretically Tom was on the right vent before the camera system break, let me go back a little bit. A little bit. Oh, oops, wrong video. I mean, not, yeah. I didn't mean to do that. I accidentally, opened that video list. And yeah, if Tom was here at the right vent instead of being over here and the camera system breaks, then Jemmy would have likely Tom would have likely slid through that right vent because if you notice after Jemmy here repairs the camera system. Yeah, camera system just got repaired. Jemmy checks the vent radar again. Tom moved. So if Tom was in the right vent, Tom would have moved after the camera system breaks, and Tom would have been at the bottom vent. You could avoid this because before the camera system breaks, you could see Tom being at that position. So Jemmy, if theoretically Tom was here and Tom moved, Jemmy should have seen that Tom is no longer at this vent, even though she did not overheat him. So normally you would have been able to realize that Tom is at the bottom shock camera. I should shock him right away. But it's a little hard to notice sometimes, so she could have died here had Tom been on the right vent, and also had she not been a bit attentive. But it's okay. Luckily, Tom was at the left vent, so she survives here. I check shadow looking if I were her. Yep. Yeah, if you thought there, ooh, yeah, a little bit of a thing there. I need to go back a little bit, tiny bit. Zach, he is at camera 5A. Zach is about to enter the front window. Of course, this is really bad. So, yeah. That's a result of Jemmy not changing the temperature at the 2 minute mark. Zach is about to appear at the front window, and yeah, luckily Jemmy checked the top vent and overheats Mr. Springlock. A little confusing. I have no idea why Jemmy left the laser activated at the left door for this long after Shadow Evil Havia already left. Liz is at the vent, so Liz is not here at the left door camera. Cause like, look, she's there. You could hear her appear there before Shadow Evil Havia did his window attack, or like left door laser attack. But yeah, Zach is at the front window, closing the lights if necessary, and this is bad. This is a bad situation Jemmy's in. And of course, obviously, she changes the temperature to 80 right away because she realized that she forgot to change the temperature. And yeah, this is an example of a situation where you would stop following the 2 minute mark thing, like the 2 a.m., 4 a.m., 6 a.m. thing. You would now start changing temperature like every 2 minutes from the 3 minute mark. So, from the 3 a.m. mark. So, it's 3 a.m. The next time Jemmy should change the temperature is at 5 a.m. Not 6 a.m. or 4 a.m. or 2 a.m. No. Because she forgot at the initial, time she should have changed the temperature. Now, change temperature at 5 a.m. is the next time she should change temperature. And luckily, she does do this. I will talk about this a little bit more later. But for now, take care. Liz has now left. There's yogurt. Yeah, this is now a decent situation. All she has to do is let the temperature go to 80 so Zach will stop being at the front window so often. And luckily, yes, she does do something about this later on. Yeah, she repairs the audio system, and right here, she overheats the vent. Very good use of my tip of overheating the vent to raise up the temperature faster. Violet there. And yeah, she did it again, so very good overheating the vent twice. And Shadow Evil Javier could not have attacked at that point, because like, the one thing about this is, if you overheat a vent, you can't overheat a vent for a while. So if Shadow Evil Javier attacks right after you overheat a vent, that's bad. That's like a risky situation where you might get screwed over there. But, if you notice, the Mice Violet is walking past the window the entire time Jemmy does this. So, Shadow Evil Javier can't attack during a Demise attack, so I don't think this was intentional, but if it had, like, let's say it was intentional, then it would have been really smart of Jemmy to do that. So, yeah, that's good. Very good, if intentional, then very good, use of the Mice stalling tip. But yeah, Jeff left. Now, Jemmy has to worry about Jeff a little bit more because temperature at 80, and Tom is now at the right vent. Yeah, Jemmy's waiting a little bit before closing the right vent, before activating the right vent laser. There you go, now she does it. This was very risky. This was very, very risky. Jemmy let Evil Shadow stay at the office for a little too long. If I go back here, Evil Shadow is here. Jemmy had more than enough time to open the maintenance panel or the camera system to get rid of Evil Shadow here. So, I mean, very risky. She survived. Luckily, she survived this, but this was very risky of her to do. And yeah, you can see her panic there, cause like, she noticed Evil Shadow's there. As soon as Jemmy, like, turned off the lights, she bolted her mouse to the camera system to open it very fast. A little funny, that I find it to be, but yeah. Another lucky situation that Jemmy survives. Yeah. Mice Mindy. Luckily, Jemmy is a fast player. Her mouse movements are pretty fast, so she doesn't struggle much with Demise Mindy. So yeah, that's pretty good. Demise Mindy is literally straight up just a speed test. You have to like be fast with her. Yeah. You know it's there again. Jemmy checks the three bottom first floor cameras for milk and yogurt. I will talk about that a little bit more later, but keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Jemmy just checking the first floor cameras for milk and yogurt. Keep that in mind. Yeah, there. Jemmy sees the child milk and yogurt at the second floor, so now Jemmy doesn't have to focus on the first floor that much from now on until the next act. And yeah, Jemmy again overheats the top vent where Tom is at. And ooh, risky because if I go back a little bit, Jared Evil Javier, he did his vent attack right after, and I mean right after Jemmy overheated Tom at the top vent. And yeah, risky because you can't overheat Jared Evil Javier right away. The camera's about to break, so yikes. Jemmy closed the camera for a little bit. I would say don't do this. Don't close the cameras and then go back on the cameras when you think the overheat is ready to be used, because there is still a risk of the camera system breaking before overheating Shadow will have here. Whether you close the cameras a bit earlier or not, I'd say just stay on the cameras and click the button. If I were Jemmy, I would like spam click over here where the overheat button is, because even if the camera system breaks now, it's still early, and Jemmy would have still had enough time to deal with Shadow Evil Javier after repairing the camera system. So, if I were her, spam click this area. Sometimes it's a bit better to like, uh, have the cameras break a little earlier, because you'd still have enough time rather than have it break later and still not get Shadow Evil Javier. So, it's a mistake that she made here, but she still survived, so it's fine. Another lucky situation because if the camera system broke at that time before overreading Shadow Evil Javier, Jamie probably would have died. Yeah, now it breaks. Again, very, very lucky. For the second time this run, the camera system breaks right after overheating Shattered Evil Javier. So, another very lucky moment from Jemmy. And something interesting happened here. Something a little bit good. Did you hear it? That sound. It's very hard to hear, but you could distinctly hear that vent sweeping sound, or like whatever the pizzeria simulator sound, which means Shattered Milk and Yogurt is at their shock camera, or Mr. Springlock is at the vents. But here, Shattered Milk and Yogurt are clearly gone. So here, oh, a little bit earlier. Hold on, sorry about that. I keep missing the time where I want to pause. Let me just try to like here. Yeah, the sound I made. And if she had stayed, you see what Jamie did instead was that she went to camera 3B and checked to see if Milk and Yogurt had moved there. And then she waits a little while, like she like doesn't shock right away. She waits, and now she notices that they're there, so she shocks the camera to get rid of them. But again, she could have quick shock, like do a very fast shock here. It's fine to waste a shock here. It's totally fine. Or another thing, a better option she could have done instead was to stay at camera 2B and check to see if Milk and Yogurt are there from that camera, because from camera 3B, let me just pause here. From camera 3B, you can't really see Sharon Milk and Yogurt when the camera is panned to the very left. Unlike camera 2B, where like if the camera is panned left or right or anywhere at all, then you can still see that Sharon Milk and Yogurt are still there. So it's a bit faster to check camera 2B to see if they are still there. But yeah, it's alright. Again, Jamie survives. It's a minor thing. This is a minor thing. The night wouldn't have been affected by that much, but again, micro adjustments. You still have to make these sorts of things if you want to perfect this game. Reading down the top end again. Not a good idea. And Jamie checked the left door to see. I don't know, Jamie. This is the first time Liz has attacked the left door. Jamie has been getting a little unlucky with that, but I mean, yeah, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing that's out of the unusual. I mean, or like, oh, whatever. It's not. It's not. It's pretty normal. That's what I meant to say. And here, very smart choice Jamie did, because right here you can see it's 4:42. It's almost 5 a.m. And this is the moment, let me just try a little bit. But yeah, when the mice Mindy attacks, instead of changing the temperature to 70, Jemmy changed the temperature at 50, which is to try to like lean in closer to like have the temperature be lower, so that Jemmy will be ready to change temperature at 40. This is a really good thing. This is a really smart decision she made, because especially when the mice Mindy is here, right? Yeah. Since the temperature changed, Gemini initially changed temperature for the first time at 3 a.m., so it makes sense to have temperature change at 5 a.m. again. And let me check my notes real quick, make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, 2 minutes after 3 a.m. is 5 a.m., so the 2-minute strategy is still being used, except at a different time interval than the normal. Pretty good play by Jemmy. And yeah, since this is the 5 a.m. Mark of Jamie changing the temperature, the next time Jamie would have to change temperature is at 7 a.m. But that's the end of the night, so at this point, change temperature to 40, and then you will not have to worry about Zach for the rest of the night. Yeah. And yeah, since the Mice Mindy is here, and you'll be like on the maintenance panel anyway, you might as well have the temperature be at 50. So yeah, really good, very good decision here. Very good like awareness of like the Mice Mindy and sorts. Yeah, Jemmy is checking the vents radar now, like in the middle of the attack. This is good. I don't know what Jemmy was doing there. She put her mouse over here. Um, the music box is like 2 feet to the left of your mouse, Jemmy, like over here, not over at Jack's like chest. So yeah, I don't know what I think, and I'm not sure what was happening here. I think Jemmy was uh meant to wind the box, but she missed by a large margin. That's my guess. But maybe she just like couldn't think of what to do next. So possibly. The Discord things, ignore those again. Those are Jemmy's video. There's Mr. Springlock. And then Jemmy shocks Mr. Springlock at the vents. Not the vents, but at the shock camera. This is actually good, Jemmy doing a good job at dealing with Mr. Springlock because in this run specifically, Mr. Springlock has been attacking in difficult ways. Like, he attacked the vents and then now at the shock camera. Jemmy's doing a good job at dealing with him, being able to hear him and such. Very good overall. Very nice, very nice. Yeah, the real Javier, the real Lamai Javier. Okay, this was a big mistake. Jared Evil Javier is in the right vent. Tom is in the left vent. And then it makes Jemmy overheat the left vent even though Tom is still far away from the left vent overheat. So this does nothing. Overheating this vent did nothing for the two characters, and what Jemmy absolutely should have overheated Shadow Evil Javier first. And not have to have her mind focus on Tom. If the camera signal was at 1 bar and it breaks, Jemmy probably would have died here because wouldn't have enough time to deal with Shadow Evil Javier. So definitely should have focused on Shadow Evil Javier more on the vents. Again, top priority. Very good there. Jemmy was able to time the Ravager, even though you can't hear it because of the triangle. And if you noticed, this was a good play by Jemmy. If I go back a little bit, the oxygen font alarm is going off. The oxygen font is broken, the alarm is going off. And this time, instead of continuing to deal with a triangle, Jemmy goes in the cameras, checks the vent radar. Tom is on his way to the right vent office, in the office, I mean. And Jemmy plays the audio lure for Jeff. Really smart, especially because the oxygen font alarm's going off, so Jeff would have been faster. So, trying to catch him like this is really good. Really good that Jemmy was able to catch Tom here because she does catch Tom. If Jemmy had repaired the oxygen font first before playing the audio lure for Jeff, there is a good chance that Jeff would have just escaped the audio lure. So yeah, good choice over there for Jemmy. And little mistake here. Yeah. At this point, Tom is at the right vent, and Liz is also at the right vent, about to come in the office. And if you notice, before last time we checked the cameras, 40 something. Wait, let me try to go back and check how much power she had right before the system breaks. Back please. 43 power, and it breaks. Liz is at the right vent, Tom is at the right vent. But instead, what Jemmy decides to do, before repairing the camera system, repairs the laser power, or reset the laser power first. This was a big mistake because this puts in a lot more risk than needed. Yeah, you didn't even have to recharge the laser power because, like, you had enough power. 43 laser power is, like, enough to deal with Tom and Liz at the right vent. So, this was not necessary. Jemmy should have really repaired the camera system over the laser power because if Shattered Evil Javier attacked at this point, then yeah, like attacked in the vents, I mean, then Jemmy would have got cooked. Jemmy would have died here. But luckily that didn't happen. And yeah, another mistake Jemmy makes here. Right after resetting laser power, Jemmy repairs the camera system like immediately after. Of course, like now of course, this was the second completion of Cartoons Massacre. This was before my guide got fully updated, so tips like this and overheating top vent, like Jemmy's been overheating the top vent a lot lately, but I don't think that was even in my guide at all at this point, so I don't blame her for that. And also for this too, because it was not in my guide at that point to not repair two systems at once, so it's understandable why she did this, but it's something you should do better because at this point, Tom had a chance of escaping. But I mean, to be fair, Tom was already dealt with at the right vent, so this wouldn't happen. But if Mr. Springlock was there, then yeah, he wouldn't have noticed and he would have gotten cooked. Because like yeah, Mr. Springlock in the vent is very mean because of how fast the skill timer is in the vent. So that's one thing. Now another thing here that Jemmy does right after closing the lights. Jemmy checks these first floor cameras to see if Shadow Milk and Yogurt are there. And then Jemmy goes in the second floor and sees that Shadow Milk and Yogurt are right there. Oh, I'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, Jemmy checks these four first floor cameras and then camera 2B Milk and Yogurt are there. Jemmy, during the entire run, if you remember, I've noticed, I've been asking to pay attention a lot, but Jemmy the entire run, a lot of the time, like, went to the first floor and checked for Shadow Milk and Yogurt at the first floor. Like, for a lot of the run, and instead of like checking the second floor. This is a mistake that could cost you a run. This was not that big of a mistake, but it's a lot better to instead check the top two cameras, the second floor top cameras, to see if looking over there. And if you haven't seen them for a while, then then check the bottom camera because they probably attacked there. This is something I went into more detail with in episode 3, so go check the episode out. Yeah. But yeah, milk and yogurt. Wait, let me see. Oh, wait, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh my gosh. I apologize. My mind just, like went empty there, and I completely forgot what I was gonna say. Um, crud, crap. But yeah, you wouldn't have checked the first floor cameras if you check these two instead, because you spend so much time in the second floor either way for Jeff, so that you wouldn't need to check for milk and yogurt at the first floor if you just check these two. So only if Jeff is at the first floor at this point, like if you have to use the auto lure on the first floor for Jeff, then that's when it'd be better to check the first floor cameras before the second floor cameras. In cases for Sharon Milk and Yogurt. So yeah. Demi wastes some time here, like the entire run by doing that, checking the first floor cameras first before second floor, when she could have saved lots more time, but fine. Now here, Zack attacks at the front window again. This is his second time, but since, if you notice, it's pretty much at the very, very end of the night, so Zack would not have nearly enough time to went to the window like 3 other times and walk past, so Debbie survives here, because yeah, end of the night, it's fine. We won't have to worry about that. Now, Jemmy did the strategy of shocking this camera just because she's scared of Sharon and Yogurt. Now, I would say two things. Firstly, instead of going for the shock camera, I checked the vent radar first. See if Tom's there. Tom's a bit more problematic here, especially since Milk and Yogurt were last seen not too long ago, only a few seconds ago, so these two aren't that big of a problem. But second thing, right here, before she checks this camera, it's very, very clear that Sharon Milk and Yogurt are still at this camera. But even then, Jemmy goes to this camera over here and shock it. Even though this was very clearly not needed. I mean, Jemmy's making use of a tip where you shock the shock cameras if you're unsure about where they are, Cabinet and Yogurt or Mr. or Tom or wherever, just to like shock just in case, and also if you have another immediate threat that you have to deal with right away. But here, both of those cases are not present. because if I go down a bit again, Milk and Yogurt are right there. Like you could clearly see them being right there. So Jemmy should have already known that those two were there, and she didn't have to do this as well. Like, and yeah, it hasn't been that long, so they Char, Milk and Yogurt, even if they did move there, they wouldn't have been there for that long, so they wouldn't have been able to kill Jemmy at that point. So I mean, it's obvious here this was done because Jemmy's getting nervous at the end of the night, and you tend to get nervous during challenges like this. So again, really important to calm yourself down because like even small mistakes like this can really affect the run like significantly more than you may think. So now Jemmy checks the vent radar and Tom is there, so overheat pump, good stuff, good stuff. Yeah, that's it. Milk and Yogurt were shocked, and that's it for this night. Jemmy should have now won in 2 seconds. Yeah, good game. GG's. Congrats for beating this challenge, Jemmy. Very impressive, very good, very cool. But yeah, as per usual, I will now be looking back at at the completion to see if I missed anything. So I will see you guys in a little bit. Okay, so one thing I wanted to point out here, right at the beginning of the night. So while Jemmy was playing this challenge, trying to beat it for the first time in this version of the game, Jemmy had a lot of trouble with Darknet. Darknet was one of her biggest problems with this challenge, and she kept dying to him a lot. So I think this part was unintentionally, but look, if you notice, Jemmy is here at the first floor. Jemmy checks Darknet's camera and that's when she notices that he disappears. So Darknet disappears, and yeah, I'm pretty sure Jemmy checked this because just because of the trauma she had with Darknet. Yeah, it's a good strategy. I wouldn't say it's worth it because like it's just better to just check the window, but you can see how when he'll attack next. So it's pretty decent strategy, but it's not needed. But yeah, I can understand why she did this because trauma with Darknet and all that. But yeah, Luckily, Jemmy did check Darknet here because if you actually saw, Darknet just left while the lights are still on. So Darknet legit was just about to get her at the front window. So if Jemmy had not looked at this camera, then there was a world where Jemmy died in this one, Darknet. So good on her for checking Darknet. Yeah, those lights. And yeah, surviving a Darknet attack in a way that you wouldn't normally. So good, pretty good, pretty good. Another part I want to mention here, this is the oxygen part. After Jemmy repairs the oxygen font alarm, right now, a little context. The camera bar signal is the camera signal is at 1 bar currently. The temperature is at 40, and before Jemmy went on the cameras, she definitely should have used turned off the lights here, because if the camera error broke, like, the camera error had a chance of breaking at this point, right before dealing with the Mice Matty, and had it broken before this happened, before dealing with the Mice Matty, then Jemmy definitely would have gotten jumped here by the Mice Matty, and this is the part where Milk and Yogurt has not been dealt with for a while. So there was a chance where Milk and Yogurt were just like completely like forgotten about and like could have died to Milk and Yogurt here. So even just one simple thing that you could do, like turning off the light at this point, could have ended your run if you didn't do it. If you didn't turn off the lights, then yeah, it's possible to end your run. Like, because this is a situation where it could have happened, but it didn't because Jemmy got lucky about it. So yeah. A main issue Jemmy had with this entire run was that she didn't turn off the lights on times where she definitely should have. Which is I'm pretty sure the main reason she struggled with Darknet is because Jemmy did not really turn off the lights at times when it would have been 100% better to do so. Like this for example. I mean, this one didn't really affect Darknet that much because she didn't spend much time in the cameras, but yeah, overall, yeah, a little bit of time could have been saved there. So yeah, just a little thing. Make sure if ever you're struggling with Darknet, try to look at how you're dealing with the lights. seeing if you were doing a good job at turning them off at appropriate times or not. So yeah, just make sure you time your lights correctly. Time your turning off correctly and stuff. Yeah. Okay, so I can't remember if I already mentioned this. I think I might have already did, but in case I didn't, I'll just say it again just to make sure. Right there, the sound that plays Shadow Evil Javier just entered the vents, and instead of going to the vent here and dealing with Shadow Evil Javier right away, instead Jemmy just repairs the audio system first, because that's the priority she wants to do first. Because hearing Shadow Evil Javier in the vents, oh, I can deal with him, but I should probably deal with the audio system first, which is very wrong. Of course, Shadow Evil Javier in the vents, as usual, deal with him as fast as possible right away. But this was completely okay because the signal camera signal bar was at 2 bars. So on situations like this where it's not at 1 bar, it's fine. It's actually okay to repair a system before dealing with Shadow Evil Javier if you need to. If you need to. But yeah, that's all. Okay, one little thing. This didn't really happen, but I just want to mention this because this is a common mistake some people make. Oh, right here. Camera broke. And right there, she was very fast. She was about to repair the camera system, but then she notices, oh, Shadow Evil Javier is there, so I should not repair the system and go open the cameras first. It's, I've seen like, I know like someone who struggles with that a lot more than they should. Like, they have to repair something instantly. Like, they have to repair like audio air, a system or cameras like as fast as possible. So they like close the cameras as fast as they can, open the main panel as fast as they can, and repair the system as fast as they can. And the lights are usually off sometimes. But one thing that you may not notice is that Shadow Evil Javier's in the office, like at the right side. If this happens, and you repair a system while Shadow Evil Javier is at the right side, then you're dead because you won't have enough time to open the cameras to get rid of Shadow Evil Javier. So one thing, this didn't happen for Jemmy. Luckily, she noticed and avoided it right away. But this is a common mistake that I know someone makes. So just want to mention here because yeah, I just want to clarify that you should be more cautious about this. When you need to repair a system, make sure that Shadow Evil Javier is not at the right time before you do it. But yeah, that's all, I guess. Yep. Okay, so one thing that happened here, really good decision that Jemmy made here. But yeah, eventually are distracted and checks for Liz because or like looking yogurt and that camera and the oxygen font alarm just went off. Normally you would go to repair the oxygen alarm right away, but Jemmy spent a little bit more time checking the shock cameras for Sharon Milk and Yogurt, and even goes to play the audio lore for Jeff. So Jemmy spent a little bit extra time before repairing the oxygen font, and yeah, make sure the audio was playing before doing that. Good thing she did. That's one good thing. But if you noticed, before she repairs the oxygen font alarm, Jemmy checked the vents radar before doing that. This was a great decision because it has been a little while before she last checked the vents radar, and because she did this, she survived Mr. Springlock's vent attack. When if she played the audio and repaired the system before going on the vent radar, there was a chance that Mr. Springlock could have killed her here. So very good choice to check the vent radar first before the repairing system. So yeah. That's all. Just make sure you are smart with how you deal with these sort of things, like checking the inventory art stuff. That's all. Just want to make sure. Clarify that a little bit more. Okay, one thing Jemmy didn't do here that I would have done, like, cause this is the point where 3:15 a.m. Zach just attacked at the front window, and because Jemmy forgot to change the temperature at the 2 minute mark. So this part of the video is at that point already, and the Jemmy set the temperature to 80 at this point, but it's still cold because it takes a while. So, what I would have done here, go to vent radar, notice Shadow Evil Javier's there, open the cameras, and overheated a vent right here. It's not possible for Shadow Evil Javier to have attacked yet because Shadow Evil Javier just appeared in the office, so he wouldn't be in the vent right after you overheat. So, if I was Jemmy, I would have overheated the vent here, make it faster for the temperature to go at 80, But yeah, just a small little thing. Another thing here that Jamie could have done to make it a little easier on herself. Because if you notice, if you okay, I don't know if I even mentioned it at all in the guide. I don't think I did, but if you are at the audio camera and you go in the vents radar while the audio is still playing, you can hear the audio lure playing while you're checking the vents radar. But here, if you notice, they should still here. The audio lure was playing like 2 seconds ago. If I go back, the audio lure is playing here. She's staying on the vent radar to overheat the vent more to raise temperature up. Yeah, I just noticed the audio stopped playing. The audio here is not playing anymore, which means the audio lore has just finished playing. So at this point, I would go on the cam system and play the audio lore, which is what I would have done. And she got lucky here. Jemmy got lucky that the oxygen font alarm didn't break, because if the oxygen font alarm broke, then Jeff had a good chance of escaping, especially since the temperature is not at 40. So another thing where you could have paid, you should try to like pay a little more attention to your like surroundings, or to your the situation that's happening. A little adjustment you could make to make it a little easier on yourself. Just a little thing. That's all. Okay, one thing I'm not sure if what Jemmy did here was intentional, but the mice Mindy's here. Look what happens here. The lights are on, and Jemmy is staying on the cameras for a very long time, not closing the cameras once at all, just so she can check for milk and yogurt. But normally, normally, right? If the lights are on and you're on the cameras, don't stay on the cameras for like too long, especially if the lights are on. But since the mice Mindy is attacking, then it's impossible for Darknet to move and attack at the window at this point, unless he's at the window before the mice Mindy shows up. But hey, that's not what happened here. And because of that, yeah, Gemmy was able to stay on the cameras with the lights on for a long time because the mice Mindy's there. If this was intentional, then very good for her. Very good for Gemmy that she was able to catch this and make use of that tip that I added. Very good overall. Very good. This is another part. I'm not sure. Again, with this one, I don't remember if I mentioned it at all. If I did, then I apologize. But just to make sure, one thing here. Oh no, the oxygen font alarm is broken. The temperature is not at 40, and the audio is not playing. So so what Jamie does here, instead of going to repair the oxygen font right away, she goes here, check camera 2B, and play the audio lore. She sees that Jamie sees that Jeff is still there, and plays the audio lore here because it would be safe to do so. This was the correct decision. This was a very good decision that would have otherwise resulted in Jeff escaping the audio lore. So, good choice, Jamie. Good choice overall. Very good. Very good. Okay, here, one situation that happens here, if you listen carefully, loud vents, loud vent sounds, or not loud, but like vent sounds that you could, that yeah, vent sounds that you can clearly hear, just played right there. Those vent sounds indicate Tom is at the right vent. If Jemmy heard it, then she would know that Tom is right there right now, and she could deal with him faster. But yeah, you gotta pay attention to those things, sounds, even those like small sounds, hard to hear, quiet sounds, very important to listen for sometimes. But yeah, that's all. One more thing to mention here that I've noticed. Right before Jemmy, let's read that again, hold on. Right before Jemmy closes the cameras, you could hear the system breaking sound effect, which means a system broke. So Jemmy checks it out, and it's the audio system, and she repairs it. Now, Jeff is still at the second floor. This is not. You wouldn't have to repair the audio system, but she does it anyway, which is totally fine. I mean, it's not like you'll die in any way anyway, so. But yeah, just a little thing. If you're at the very end of the night, sometimes you don't even have to worry about the audio system at all. Sometimes you won't have to focus on repairing it in any way. So, it's just a little thing. Who knows? Just in case you encounter the Shadow Evil have here in camera air combat at the very end of the night or something. You wouldn't have to worry about it as much because, yeah, you wouldn't have been repairing any other system in the middle of it. So, that's all. Not required, but yeah, repairing the audio system is, yeah, not really a necessity here. And yeah, this was a situation where being a where I think Jemmy did hear the error sound effect before she closed the camera, so she was able to like know that the system broke. So if this was earlier in the night, this would have been really good thing to have done to like notice and pay attention to. But yeah, that's all. I mean, it's fine if you don't hear the sound. You wouldn't most of the time, so you would be checking the maintenance panel either way, whether you do hear it or not. So it's fine if you don't do it. It's not really a tip that I would really recommend that much. Okay, so I just finished watching the rest of the video, and it's good. That's everything I feel like mentioning. And yeah, good job again to Jemmy for completing Cartoons Massacre. She's a cool person. I chat with her a bunch, and yeah, she's cool. Go check her out. She also makes a lot of max mode content, makes a lot of cool videos. But yeah, this was the end of the episode. Overall, the run itself, it was decent, but it had a lot of major mistakes that was done. But even with all of the mistakes that Jemmy made, the run was still a completion. She still managed to complete the max mode even with all of the major mistakes that she made. And yeah, a lot of it was due to luck. She got very lucky in a lot of moments where she had to where she survived a lot of major risks that she could have avoided, risks that she couldn't have, or she could have not gone into in the first place. But it really goes to show that even if you aren't perfect, even if you made lots of mistakes, it's still a perfectly possible run. You could still make it through the entire thing not being perfect. Perfection isn't required. You don't have to be perfect when playing this mode. And this was a little bit extreme with how many mistakes there were, but as with all of these other videos, like with all of these like episodes I'm making, there are many mistakes that were made by all of the people playing, including me. I even make mistakes on my own completion, but you don't need to be perfect. You don't even have to use that many of my tips and strategies, and you would still be able to go through the challenge just fine. Just like with Jemmy's run here. Overall, you don't have to play perfectly. You don't have to play optimally all the time, but just things that you have to keep track of, all of these things I'm telling you. These are all things that you can make use of optionally, but if done, if you make use of all of them, then your runs will become a lot better. So again, overall, not the best run. It's quite flawed, but it's still good. It's still a good run, making use of some of my important tips and all that. And because that, she managed to make it through. And yeah, this is the one thing about this challenge. If you win, not making use of my tips and like avoiding all of these situations with luck instead of like avoiding them with skill, like with Jamie here, she avoided a lot of situations with luck instead of skill. It makes it easy to like say this mode RNG, as I mentioned at the beginning at my introduction. So really, this is the whole purpose of this entire series after all. Just make sure you learn about what can happen, try to like be more mindful, be more I forgot the word for it, but there's a word I want to use. Yeah. You can do it. If you do plan the challenge, yeah. Just know that you don't have to do perfectly, you don't have to do everything I say. You don't have to do everything that I say in these videos, episodes. And these challenges will not be as bad as they seem. Even if the mistakes you made, just make sure you will cover the most important things that I mentioned. And you'll still be able to pass even with all the mistakes you may make. So yeah, that's it for real this time. Thank you guys so much for watching episode 4 of Overanalyzing Cartoons Massacre. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next episode whenever that may be. Yep. Peace. See ya. Thank you for watching. Yeah, check Jamie out. Check out my channel. Yep. Yeah.